My primary goal for you is to help you understand what causes your pain so you can do the work to get better. That's the key. And somebody posted a comment about their MRI and what their history was and what maybe some of the experience was. And I thought this would be a good opportunity to teach the principles, and they tend to be similar. So it may be redundant for some of you, but I really think that, number one, what I know is the more you understand the cause of your back pain, the more likely you are to do the work to fix it. And it requires work. There is no quick path, simple solution to back pain. It requires understanding the fundamentals, the principles of why you have it and what you need to do to make it better. So one of the things I preach all the time is activities that we do throughout the day make the disc worse, especially now that we live in a culture where we're sitting all day. The sitting process creates a weakness in the disc. 24 vertebrae between the head and the hips. In between each vertebrae, there is a disc. The disc is a lot like a jelly donut in the sense that the outside the disc, there's a thick material. Inside the disc, there's a jelly-like substance. That jelly-like substance allows for the vertebrae to move in 6 different directions. It moves side to side. It can move front to back, and it can rotate, but also we get what's called a shearing force where the vertebrae can shift like this. Now, it's all the activities repetitive on the disc in conjunction with the activities that we do throughout the day, like sitting, that creates the weakness in the disc. And it's the bending and overloading the disc that very often causes the annulus to tear. It may get weak from sitting too long, and then we go do an activity that then makes it a little bit worse because it's the loaded flexion or movement patterns. Now, the person that posted this was doing a bent over row. And when you're doing a bent over row, you're bent over and you're lifting weights. And it kind of looks like this. Bent over, lifting weights. And what that does is it causes a shearing force right here, but also it puts the spine in a little bit of flexion. And when you put the spine into flexion, what it does is it allows for an opportunity for that disc to get aggravated and or weakened. So it's the flexion with the load. Now, in this case, he was in this position where he was doing the bent over rows, but it happens to all of us doing a lot of different things. Sometimes we're picking up a basket for our laundry, or we're bending over to pick something off the floor. Depending on the situation, what happens is you have the initial injury. And with that injury, what it does is it causes the disc to push out. Now, he submitted his MRI, and there was a couple of comments about the MRI, but somebody said it looks like a very healthy MRI. Well, there is a herniated disc. And the herniated disc is the nucleus pushing out, and what that does is it creates an inflammatory process in the annulus. And then here's the problem. Every time you bend, even to brush your teeth, you're aggravating a little bit. Maybe not enough to cause the pain, but you're aggravating a little bit. And it's the repetitive actions of this flexion over the disc that continues to aggravate it. Just like we're hitting our thumb with a hammer, bang, bang, bang. Every time we bend, every time we flex, even if it's subtle, to pick up something off the counter, to pick up our coffee cup, anything subtle will cause that aggravation. That's why a lot of you get pain when you brush your teeth. It's because you're flexing over the sink, and it's that flexion process that aggravates the disc. And this continue aggravated. And when you do this, the pain gets better for a while, and then it gets worse. And then it gets better, and then it gets worse. Okay? It's the repeated flexion on the weakened disc that causes the disc to get aggravated. what do we do? Our goal is to prevent the aggravation to the disc, to make sure we're not bending. This is why we have all the tips, the 22 videos. Watch the videos. They're very, very, very important because it prevents you from continuing to aggravate the disc. This is how we win. We win by moving healthy movement patterns. We're not flexing over the disc. We're using our hips. We have the stability. We're bracing. We have the core endurance. We've restored motion to the hips. The reason you restore motion to the hips is so you can get into a lower position, a flex position, without bending your spine. Don't be a spine bender. Spine bending is not good for the spine. The spine is designed to be bent, but it's not designed to be your flexion motion. The flexion is supposed to come from the hips. We address the core. Fix the core prevents the flexion. That's the key. Now, continued flexion causes the annulus to push out. When you balance your core, when all the muscles here are doing what they should be doing, the distribution of stress across the annulus is even in all directions, which is what you want for a healthy disc. That's why we aggressively work the core. We aggressively work the core to stabilize the annulus. And then what do? We activate and strengthen the glutes. Which ones are the glutes? The glutes are here because those are the ones that allow you to flex without flexing your spine. If these are weak, then you'll use your spine. Now in his case, he was a weightlifter his whole life. Probably what happened is it just kind of gave out. Maybe it was a bad week or a bad month where we had to sit more than normal and it just kind of gave out. I know that everybody, because of the quarantine, we're all having back pain because of sitting too much, because it overloads the disc. So then the goal is to activate and strengthen the glutes. That's what we do. This is how we win the day. Okay, it sounds very simplistic. It sounds simple because it really is a 20-year evolution of understanding of back pain. This is where we are. It sounds simple, and you know what? It is simple. The problem is other people are making it more complicated. 2 principles. Move well, strengthen the muscles that help you move well. Now, he had mentioned that somebody had looked at his MRI and said potentially he has central sensitization. Now, when you call it something like that, I don't know what they mean. I mean, I know what it is, but I don't know what their point was, and I also don't know what their mechanism of treating it is. The question is, are they using this method? Probably not, because very rarely do anybody use this method. Okay, this is pretty much what we do. It's the key to solving your back pain. But what was their mechanism? We don't know. But when you call it something different, you give it a unique name, in your mind it sounds like maybe it's a bigger problem. Oof, that's pretty serious stuff. Well, I know what it is. Central sensitization is where the nerve gets so aggravated it creates inflammation inside the spinal cord, which may be happening because it happens to a lot of people, especially when they have sciatica. But the mechanism to treating it is preventing the flexion by strengthening the core and reactivating the glutes so your body can flex better. Another physician saw the MRI and said it's stenosis. Now here's the problem with stenosis. Stenosis tends to be the wear and tear problem of the spine, although I think in his case it was congenital. But very often when you have stenosis, they tell you, be careful. Be careful because it's wear and tear. And you maybe need to take it easy. And the problem is that's the exact opposite of what you need. What do you need? You need to reactivate and strengthen. Okay? You may have to avoid certain activities that are aggravating it because those are the wrong mechanisms or you're moving in the wrong direction. But in the end, you can live a full, functional, happy, healthy life if you restore the function to the spine. That's how you do it. Okay? What's the principle? The principle is the more you know, the more likely you are to do the work. Spines break down when they're dysfunctional. You restore function and they don't break down. Work the core, work the hips. That's the key to solving this problem. That's how we win the day. When they call it something else, be careful, because it gets confusing and it can be frustrating sometimes when you don't understand what that means. My goal is to give you clarity so you understand what it means. As you get stronger, the pain will go away. Why does it go away? Because it balances the load across the disc. You balance the load across the disc with your everyday activities, the pain will go away. The key is strength. The key is to create the durability and the resilience by having stronger muscles that support the spine. That's the key. We have a program called 10X. 10X is specifically designed to walk you through step by step this process so you can get your life back. There is an exact method of exercises and the routine that will help you get your life back. It's called 10X. It took us 30 years to develop. Every week you get new exercises. Do the exercises, check off the sheet that you did the exercise, and eventually you will get better. It's a 30-year process. It took us 30 years to develop this. It doesn't take you 30 years to get better. Sign up today. It's $47. There's going to be a button over here, and then in the description to the video there'll be a link that you can click on that and take you to the page that you can sign up on. Got it. That's it. Those are the principles. Get your life back. Start today. Boom.